All right, here we go. Starting it up now. In 5, in 4, 3, 2. All right, run another edition of In the Paint podcast. Another mobile to mobile session with my boys Zack and Kris, the Degenerate, of course, on top. Kris on the bottom there. Screen, fellas. We are off and running now. We can have the NBA playoffs. Very interesting things going on right now.
No,
what the fuck?
There's nothing interesting going on.
Really? Are you scared of Minnesota, buddy?
I told you that.
I mean, I would say, Zack, are you scared of something? But your team's like didn't even sniff 30 wins this year, so let's not even talk about it.
Look, I'm scared of not getting the first pick in the draft.
Okay.
I hate this bullshit that they pulled now, all because they didn't want New York to get the kid with the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot to touch on, really, to be honest, in the playoffs. But obviously, the biggest story right now
is the MB3. That is the biggest story.
That's probably number 2 on my list, actually, because that MB3 might have saved that series. And now looking in hindsight, obviously, let's put them in bed real quick because it's over now in Brooklyn. The Nets get swept. Where do you start? I mean, you go many ways. The series itself, the Ben Simmons thing, Kyrie's post-game comments, and KD's already not even 12 hours after the game fighting with Charles Barkley on social media. All these things. I guess I'll start here. Who to blame for this? Who's to blame for getting swept?
Why do you need to blame someone when a 7
Kyrie
by a 2 seed?
Okay, stop that. Stop that 2 seed bullshit. You know Brooklyn was full.
It's a 2-7 matchup. Why would there be anyone to blame for a sweep of a 2 versus a 7 seed?
Because you know that 7 seed isn't a typical 7 seed. That's why. Come on now.
Seed with a max player not playing, another guy who gets paid handsomely, hurt. The team was falling apart to begin with. There was a reason why they were a 7 seed. I don't know why I kept telling you guys the reason why the team's 7 seed. I thought they weren't going to make it in the playoffs.
Chris.
Who was falling apart?
This is disingenuous, though, because when Kevin Durant got hurt, they were number 1 in the East. So let's stop that noise. They're not getting any passes here. Stop.
The East was very bad on the top end. So
there's one person to blame for all of the Nets' failures this year, and it's Kyrie. It starts and stops with Kyrie. Why did James Harden want to leave? Because of the Kyrie bullshit. Why did they not have any team chemistry? Because Kyrie wasn't there for 2/3 of the season. All right. It starts and stops with Kyrie. Not to mention Kyrie's demand for Steve Nash to be the coach so that they wouldn't even have a coach.
Was that Kyrie or was that Kevin Durant?
That was both.
Okay.
All of that is package. You know that's all package deal.
I can't not disagree with you on that, Zack. I mean, if I had to do blame pie, he's definitely getting a chunk of that shit because they're not where they are without. I mean, look, and I'll say it again with my position on the mandates, all that you can do what you want, but there are consequences. So they are where they were because of Kyrie Irving. So this whole idea about Kris saying, "Oh, well, they're a 7 seed." No. They would have been a 7 seed if Kyrie Irving had gotten vaccinated, obviously. Look, this is what you asked for.
Well, that's the thing. This is what Kevin Durant asked for, and he got what he wanted, and that's what he got. A guy who's not a team player, has no heart. And they traded someone who's equally as selfish and heartless as well than Ben Simmons. So,
does this ding Durant's legacy? Because there's a lot of prisoner moment narratives around Durant now. Oh, he's not great anymore. This one series, I agree, he's not a good look, but the overall perspective of Kevin Durant does this really ding them heavily?
Yes, absolutely.
Zack, why?
Why? He went to a team that had just won a ring. Went to a team that set the record for most wins in a season. All right? He chose to lead that team. He chose to leave winning championships to go play with another guy that he thought was championship caliber and that he could lead. He's had 2 other franchises with Hall of Fame players. And he couldn't even get to the finals with either so far.
I will say this. His career trajectory has pretty much been the LeBron route, where he was trying to do it on his own, couldn't do it. So he, just like LeBron, went and did the Heatles thing, and that's how he got his first championship, and then went on to create his own team after the fact. Same thing. Kevin Durant couldn't do it. Went to Golden State. Now, granted, that was like more of like a him just being added onto the team, but still, he went to a team, won a bunch with the best team in the league, and then now he's trying to recreate his team. Like LeBron left, went to Cleveland, and created his own big three with him, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. He manufactured all those trades, put that team together. Kevin Durant comes to Brooklyn by himself and has them put together all these trades to create a big three for him, and it hasn't worked out. And even LeBron, who had a banged up Kyrie and Kevin Love being banged up here and there throughout all those years, still drug them through 4 straight finals, no matter what. And Kevin Durant's not doing the same thing and kind of the same, like, pathway, I should say. He's going through the same path where he's trying to create his own big three and try to win it on his own, and he can't do it. LeBron was doing it, and he's not pulling that off right now.
Although I will say Durant was a lot more extreme. Durant went to a team that literally was proven championship, won a title, should have won a title the very next year, won 73 games, and then went to that team that he lost to.
So why do you think his legacy isn't hurt by this, Ernest?
No, I didn't say that.
I don't think it's just because you can see he's clearly the best player on the court, no matter what.
But he's not anymore.
Not in this series, not this series, but throughout the entire time in Brooklyn, he's by far the best player.
The pass LeBron gets on this.
On Brooklyn's team, he's
right.
The best
player. The pass LeBron gets on this one, in comparison to Durant, is that, yes, we agree that obviously him going with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, obviously two of the guys were at the time were considered top 10 players in the league in 2010. But that was not a proven experiment at the time. That was still not proven, there were still questions that were going to work. You literally go to a team already assembled that won a title 2 years before that. The very next year wins 73 games and should have won a title that year too. And you just dropped in that same team already developed.
Well, the whole point was they were up 3-1 on that team.
Yeah, and that's the worst part too. Up 3-1.
That was the big dagger of them all, is that you were up 3-1 and you had a colossal meltdown and then said, fuck, I'll just join them.
What does this do for Steph's legacy?
This actually helps Steph, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And Zack, especially this. I said it to you a couple days ago. If Steph wins one more ring or 2 more rings, whatever, one more ring.
If he just
this changes everything.
One ring with one Finals MVP.
He's the Finals MVP too. Yeah.
That's the one thing he's missing now. He's missing that part. The Finals MVP.
Well, people are finally admitting that Iguodala shouldn't have won that Finals MVP to begin with.
He should have. But the fact that that arguable though, like, you can say whatever you want. Steph didn't dominate. He didn't deserve. Like, he's not like he was robbed of that. Obviously, he has the most impact, and because of his impact, everyone else gets off a lot easier. But at the end of the day,
but Steph also chose to take a step back to integrate Durant into the team.
When that series, because that series was tied 2 apiece at one point, they were down 2-1. I don't remember that. They were down 2-1 in that series against Cleveland in that 15 finals. Steph took over the end of the series. He struggled early and it picked up late. So
this could put, if Steph wins now a ring and a Finals MVP, this puts him top 5 all time, and it could put him ahead of even LeBron players, for his contemporary.
Like all-time players in terms of like Jordan.
Yes, because now you're at 4 rings, 2 that he literally led. He got robbed of a ring because of the NBA commish. So I mean,
he would need to win about at least 2 more rings to get that discussion. I would argue that he's definitely close. Look, I think Steph is top 20 all time. I agree with you on that one right now. As we sit here doing this podcast, he is definitely top 20 all time. I don't know where you place him. He's definitely top 20.
I think it goes number 1 during his time above all peers. Because think of it. He beat LeBron twice, right?
Okay.
So you get that, and he wins a ring this year, which might be against, say, the Bucks and the best player in the NBA now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. He has to be considered the greatest during his time.
I think he's almost in that conversation now. Like even when we did our top, I don't know where. Well, Kris had him ranked lower than we did. I think Zack on our top.
Oh
25.
yeah.
Now if we shortened that
Kris
year,
is disrespectful to
right
some
now, if
point
we
guards.
shortened this years into like maybe a 15-year gap, between say now and let's go 07, 06. The only other person that you're considering over Steph is LeBron. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I'll put Steph over Curry in that time frame too. Oh, over Kobe. Excuse me.
Oh, absolutely.
If I'm telling you 07 to 22, last 15 years, the best player, I would put Curry ahead of Kobe. Last 15 years.
By the time Curry was even drafted, Kobe was pretty much done. So
Kobe had a couple of decent years at the end of that, but yeah.
Yeah, in his rookie and sophomore year. Like, that's how far the distance is. So you could have Kobe during the early part of LeBron's career owning it, and the second half of LeBron's career is owned completely by Steph. Does LeBron deserve to even now get argued?
No, he's the one, no matter what. Because LeBron, what he's done, the fact that, Zack, he's turning 38 in December, okay? He is still considered the best player in basketball. I'm not saying he is, but he's in the conversation.
So
he
was 37 and was third in the league in scoring at almost 30, right? Michael at 36 was 28 points a game and an NBA Finals MVP. 1 year difference. 1 year. We have to keep that in perspective about LeBron. We're talking 1 year now.
The one thing I knocked Jordan on, and I still to this day. Where did Kris go? Kris, you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay.
Kris is entertained by this.
I'm very entertained by this.
Okay. The only thing I knocked Jordan on with that is that he's still retired twice.
Still retired twice.
10 finals. Was it 10? 10 finals in a row?
Finals, yes. He's been 10 finals his career, yeah.
Do you know how many why do you think he dominates like every playoff statistic ever created? Because he's been to
It wasn't 10 finals in a row.
He went to 8 in a row. 8 in a row.
Yes. Let's correct some of this
10 total.
history.
Sorry, 10 total. 10 total.
Yes, but 8 in a row. How many did Magic go to?
In a row? No, not in a row. He went
total. 8 or 9?
Magic went to 9 finals.
Okay.
Total.
So Magic has a better record, 4-5, than 4-6. We're talking 1 finals more. This is what I'm saying. We watched LeBron dominate and didn't notice that for half of LeBron's career, Kobe was actually the man. And the second half, it could be Steph if Steph wins a ring now.
Mm-hmm.
I know it hurts, Kris, because you're the LeBron guy.
I'm not a LeBron.
Hey, Kris, are you on video still? No.
Yeah.
Huh?
Are you on video still?
Yeah.
I don't see you.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah.
I don't see you.
Because right now I'm looking at the 2 guys that also said the Nets won the trade.
This is true. Yeah, but you can't judge it off the first half. The first half of the year that they got.
That's the whole point of that trade. Get to the finals this year.
It is for Philly because their time frame is very small because Joel Embiid can get hurt at any point, and as a big man, that could end his career. It's like Yao Ming went from here to there, and in zeros, in no time. Embiid's career could be over at any point. You have to maximize the time frame. Like I said, if Harden walks after this season and Ben Simmons actually does good in Brooklyn for the next 2-3 years, then of course they lose that trade easily. But as of right now, we'll see what happens. Doesn't look good for Ben Simmons, that's for sure. He definitely wimped out. But I will say this: why does Steve Kerr get no credit? Like,
he gets credit. We said it.
No,
I get top 10 discussion.
All the credit.
We did all-time top coaches. I said Steve Kerr's top 5 all time.
I thought we did that already. Yeah,
but you have to consider that Curry and them were there for a long time before, and Curry and Clay have been there. Didn't do shit without Kerr. All the success has been there since Kerr's been there. So maybe it's just a system. Tim Duncan doesn't get enough credit because everyone says, "Oh, Pop's the greatest coach ever." I mean, he had a great system. He had Tony Parker and fucking.
It's almost hard though to not win without a above average or great coach. You can't. I mean, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. And then
Michael and LeBron took longer to get to a finals and win a finals than Steph did.
What I'm saying is, people give Phil Jackson a lot of credit because he got to Chicago, and then same thing. Kobe and Shaq were in LA for multiple seasons before they went on that three-peat until Phil got there. So why isn't it the same for Steve Kerr's narrative where maybe all the success is really Steve Kerr in that system?
I don't know if I know you and
so
Zack.
That's your LeBron argument is that coaches.
No, I'm saying you guys give Steph Curry way too much credit for how good the team is.
I give Steph to. I'm the one. I know Ernest doesn't.
Ernest
is so blind.
The only thing I knock Curry on is really more so the lack of MVPs in the finals, and he has come up small in the finals in the past too. He has come up smaller.
You knock Steph because he's only 5 inches taller than you.
No, I'm a big.
Exactly
why. No, Zach, that's ridiculous. I actually love Steph.
You knocked the little guy.
Oh, come on.
No.
No. I love Steph Curry. Are you kidding me?
Phenomenal. He has changed the game forever, but I think he gets a hair too much credit for that team's success.
So no, I think both be right here though. I think we can do both. We can give both Kerr credit, which we do. I mean, we acknowledge him on our podcast when we did the podcast a couple weeks ago about the top 10 coaches all the time. I think all three of us had Steve Kerr in the top 10.
I think
I had him top 5.
Now you're seeing some more like the roster turnover and the fact that it does not miss a beat for whoever they plug in.
Mm-hmm.
Showing more that system's more important than anybody. Like, now granted, it does not work without Steph, obviously, but like it's tough to say like, oh, the team sucked without Steph or was it 2 years ago when he got hurt? But it was like, okay, Clay was hurt also. Like you're missing a bunch of people. It wasn't just like Steph was hurt and the team fell apart. Like the team was all completely apart beforehand. But you can see like Draymond goes out and they start to falter. Like that, it's that whole system. You need every single important one of those key cogs. Like for that system to work, you need a 5 that can guard every position in the defense that allows it. Like Draymond's right up there too with the importance.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'll go further. Draymond's a Hall of Famer.
Stop.
You think Hall of Famer? He's pretty much Dennis Rodman.
He is a Hall of Famer, especially when you look at their win percentage with and without him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such a demonstrative.
It's night and day. It's night and day. Absolutely. Without question.
He is very good for that system, but if you were to put him on any other team, is his impact that important?
I do. See that I agree with, actually. I do have questions if he was on another team. But the thing is, he's not. It doesn't matter.
It's tough for me.
Back to the Nets real quick. How much blame? Well, let me ask you a question. Forget the blame. Steve Nash, should he lose his job over this performance?
He's just the easiest scapegoat because he has the least experience in a big time position. But like I said, once they lost Joe Harris, that was like the nail in the coffin for them to have a good season this year. Like you need that floor spacing. He was very key cog.
He was definitely missing this series. Joe Harris,
great shooter. You need him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
why. Here's the thing.
Okay.
You can't really get rid of Steve Nash, and you can't blame Steve Nash.
Right.
Because on a team like that, especially at the point where Harden was there for half of last year and part of this year, you were talking 3 major egos. And that's what that's what made Phil great, is managing those egos. And so how many coaches out there today do you really believe can manage 3 egos? Because they're going to want to run their own thing.
Okay.
Even once Simmons gets there.
Hey.
Yay.
Hold on. What's up, buddy? I'm doing it here. It's not working, so I'm doing it here. Let's stay on the. You teased a while ago, Zach. The biggest story is the Sixers and then Joel Embiid, and all of a sudden we go from 3-0 to 3-2. Toronto's taking it back to Game 6. I think it's tomorrow night. I believe it's Game 6. Look, my opinion is this: I believe that Philly will find a way to win the series, either whether it's tomorrow or Monday. I think it's going to be 7 games. I think they'll find a way to win Game 7. But man, can you imagine if they lose the next 2 games? Doc Rivers has won what 2 3-1 series leads already in playoffs.
Doc Rivers would be out of a job.
Doc Rivers won't even make it to the fucking post-game press.
His comments on Ben Simmons caused a problem last year.
True.
And now you have a complete implosion where it should have been 2-1, not 3-0, and it should be 3-2 Toronto right now. I don't think there's anyone in America that would be putting money on Philly money line right now.
Right.
To win in Toronto. All right, just not going to happen.
So you got Toronto winning Game 6 too?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what's
that's going to be a 20-point blowout.
What's even sicker too about that game last night was that they won without Fred VanVleet.
I was in complete shock that they won that big without Fred VanVleet. But you know what? Credit to my boy Nick Nurse.
Yep, I agree. Nick Nurse, coach.
He put Scotty Barnes at point guard, and there was not one person on the floor less than 6'6", and they smothered Philly with that defense. And they scored 77 points last night. Like he tried a different tactic, and it worked masterfully.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
Scotty Barnes is a beast.
At no point did Scotty Barnes be the main ball handler all year, and all of a sudden he just you're starting at point guard and see how this works. And
no, he played several games at point guard this year, and you could tell a difference. His points, I didn't see a single game during the regular season where he would score over 10 points when he was the main point guard. But in those games, he'd be 8, 9 assists a game with 1, maybe 2 turnovers. He was so protective of the ball and yet so good passing.
But yeah, the fact that they won that game without Fred VanVleet was shocking. I just think Embiid's really downplaying his injury. Kudos to him for not using that as an excuse by any means, because you can clearly see his points are down like 10 points a game since he's hurt his thumb. And
again too, right?
Yeah.
He's got to play closer to the basket.
So I think at this point they'll figure out a way to win this game. I think they're going to win Game 6.
They have to, because then the buttholes get tight for Game 7.
Nah, they'll be fine. I think you'll see Harden step up, and that'll be the end of the series.
Hey, if Philly were to blow this lead and Doc gets fired, would it be better for Philly to maybe trade for a coach out there right now who's coaching another team, or can you find a better coach off the scrap heap?
Right now, the hottest name is Quinn Snyder. We'll get to that one, the whole Utah.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Because they're down 3 now in the series. Your Jazz, let's go there now. Your Jazz, Zachary, 3-2. I've been saying on Twitter last week, from Game 1 on, even when they won Game 1, I said this. They are pathetic. They have a roster, in my opinion, that their floor should be conference finals. That's a great roster, top to bottom.
I agree, but you know what happens? They're one star. The one guy who can create his own shot always comes up short. Always.
Where's Mitchell in this series, dude?
He's been putting it up with high volume, but I feel like
that's who he is, though.
I just feel like a dude like Joe Ingles, who was like the glue guy, being gone is like so key.
It was a huge loss, but he was having such a bad season.
It's so bad that you go down 2-1, where Luka doesn't even play a fucking minute of basketball. Okay, and then Game 4, you barely win that game.
But you win it when Luka comes back, puts up 30 and like 12. Like that was a big time win. For them not to be able to rally behind that is really shocking.
Yeah, it's really bad. Here's the question: does it go 7? Or is it over? It's going back to Utah, Game 6.
Who knows?
I'll say yes for Zach. This was Zach's prediction to stay alive a little bit for this podcast, because he'll start crying if they lose Game 6.
Well, my pick to win it all hung in the balance with Mitchell. Mitchell, I thought Mitchell might be the regular season MVP. All right, I thought he would finally make that leap this year, and he did make the leap. And all right, I'm gonna own up to my pick. But
is it possible he's maybe his peak already? Maybe is it possibly maybe his peak now?
Yeah, I just think when he came in, what he was what he was, and he was never going to improve.
Right. What else here? Suns Pelicans 2-2. How much trouble? Okay, scale of 1 to 10. How much trouble the Suns in now? Booker.
1.
I go 5. Ingram is a difference maker.
Yeah, he really is. I'm gonna go 4. I don't share the 1 part. I don't think. I think they'll win the series. I think they'll finally win the series. They got too many good veterans there. I think New Orleans is too young to blow this. It's just too young that they'll blow this fucking series. And it's opportunity. But I guess it's going 7 games.
I don't think so. Unless Zion's planning to come back and is gonna like be a difference maker. Like,
no, if you bring Zion back, it's round 2.
First off, you're not. If you couldn't bring back Ben Simmons, you can't bring back Zion.
That's true.
Zion
never said I might play game 4. You know what I'm saying? Zion has been chilling. So
why has no one been coming after him when he was scheduled to come back months ago?
Because no. People have him too, but the thing what different was that Zion never teased it like, oh, I'm coming back, I may come back here, this and that. It was never his issue of injury. But Simmons is like he just didn't want to play.
Look, Zion's coming back next year because he's got to worry about a rookie extension deal.
That's right.
He's going to sign the extension, right, and then you won't see him for 3 more years. Right? Just telling you how
it's money. Work. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you. I don't know if you saw the thing with Stephen A. Smith yesterday on First Take. These owners are going to be in the next CBA meeting. These owners are going to be very, very blunt about making sure players play or find a way to make sure they lose money because they're not playing their games.
I'm starting to think Ben Simmons is thinking he can retire from mental health and still collect $120 million.
He's annoying. I got Suns still. I got Suns anyway, but we'll see what happens.
I think the Suns will figure out. I think Mikal Bridges will come out. Mm-hmm. Figure out a way to shut down Brandon Ingram. And if Ingram takes him to the shed 3 more games, then man, that'll be rough. But I just figured they're gonna clamp down on him somehow. And unless DJ McCollum steps up, I just don't see it happening.
Kris, since I know how much you love Chris Paul and think he is a point god, how much will this hurt his legacy if he goes out in a first round after being up 2-0?
People always give him the benefit of the doubt because unless he like the other game when he had 4 points, unless he does that for the next 3 games, I highly doubt he's gonna get much of the blame. They're gonna chalk it up to Devin Booker got hurt, whatever. They'll make it back next year. Mm-hmm. I think DeAndre Ayton getting fucked up by Jonas Valanciunas is definitely something to be talked about. I mean,
he had a huge game 4 though.
Yeah, but when Valanciunas also put up fucking 17 and 13 on him or whatever,
I fell asleep after halftime. I regret it.
Ayton had over 30 points though. What do you have, 39 or something?
Yeah, but he's got to stop the other guy too, as well. You got to play both sides.
Chris Paul's got to score more than 4 points.
It's true, but
you're gonna blame Ayton when Chris Paul scored 4 points. This is what I'm talking about. How does this not hurt his legacy if he goes out first round again?
If he continues to play like ass, yeah, but it's 1 game. He doesn't put up 16 points in the 4th quarter of the last game and save them. Trust me, they'll be fine.
All right.
They're the 1 seed for a reason. They won the most games by far in the league. They'll rebound just fine.
Yeah, they won all those games because of Booker.
Yeah. I mean, Alvin Gentry will definitely feel it if they blow this series. That's for sure.
Well, what happens? What else I'm missing here? We touched on Philly already, right? We touched on Philly. We touched on what else series I'm missing? I mean, Miami, Atlanta. That's done tonight, right?
Well, we talk about the whole is Utah going to blow it up afterwards if they do.
Oh yeah. Well, if they lose the series, will they blow it up or should they? I mean.
Well, here's the thing. Quinn Snyder is rumored for the Lakers job. That seems all but certain could happen.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting if they lose their coach as well. But the problem is those contracts are immovable. You can't move. They're albatrosses. Rudy Gobert about to make $40 million for the next 3 years.
I don't see a Whiteside. Well, what he's on a contract now, that's right.
Well, the core is on long-term deals for a lot of money, but the rest of the roster is pretty much done. So you can retool the rest of the roster, but you're still going to have Mitchell. Obviously, you want to keep him. But Gobert, Conley, like those guys, they're not going anywhere. Like I don't think you can make moves at this point. So you're stuck with like your big three and moving pieces around them.
Zach, you're the resident Jazz fan of this podcast. What should Utah do if they lose the series?
Oh, I totally think they blow it up. But unlike Kris, I think it's different. I don't think you can move Gobert's contract. So you will be trading Donovan Mitchell. And you'll be trading Mike Conley. Right.
But what are you getting back for those guys? And who's taking them those monstrous contracts? I mean, Donovan Mitchell, you'll have plenty.
Mitchell's the only guy that has real value right now.
So who are you getting back that's going to make you better? That's the question. Who are you getting?
It may not be about just making you better for the next season. It may be about getting a draft pick. This could be where you actually see them trade Donovan Mitchell to Oklahoma City, for instance, because he's shown he's willing to play in a small market because he wants to be the top alpha dog.
No.
Yes.
He'll gladly go if he could play with SGA, but if you're not getting him back, then what do you get?
I mean, you could always keep it together another year and try.
You probably get Gidley back and 2 or 3 first-round draft picks.
What if they kept the team together another year and see if they can try it one more time?
I mean, Giddy fits him perfect. He's a 3-point shooter. He can pass. He's young and cheap.
The thing is, like, we know they could blow it up. And they probably maybe should. But what if they didn't do that? What if they just kept this team together one more year and see what they can do?
I still think that's what you have to do. But it concerns me that you make a trade for, like, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right?
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't play a single minute in the playoffs. And he's under contract for the next, like, 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, if this is a young guy you think is going to be a gunner off the bench and, like, a guy that you can plug in next to, Jordan Clarkson and these guys, and play him at all, what was the purpose of going and making that move? Like, it blows my mind to make that move, and then Snyder cuts the bench off and doesn't even include him.
Well, I think the initial move was they expect to re-sign Ingles in the offseason. So they made that trade looking to bolster for this postseason run. But the number one guy won't be there next year is Conley. He certainly won't be there.
What's his situation in contract?
They would rather put the ball back in Mitchell's hands.
At $22 million, at 2 more years of that.
Let me look right now. Michael Conley.
Don't you believe me?
You have to shake it up. You just can't run it back at this point.
You overpay for a guy like him, and
unless you're taking Westbrook back, how many teams out there are going to take Gobert's contract?
That's what I'm saying. Like there's a bunch of like mishandled stars out there, and maybe you put these like go and get Kristaps or go and get Russell or going to get like these guys that their teams don't want that are like other albatrosses and hope they make better. Like that's your only hope. But is that going up?
He's sneakily old now. Like he's not old, but he's snuck up there. He's 34 years old now.
Yeah.
He snuck up there a little bit. I didn't realize he was that old.
Hell, I thought Conley was like 37.
Oh, really? Wow, damn, dude.
Dude, he's been in the league since I wore diapers, okay?
Jeez, all right, relax, bro.
He came like, yeah, that was quite a while ago.
Yeah, he is a free agent in 2024. Yeah. It's not a bad. He doesn't have a bad contract though, but for the
it is bad.
It's like $30 million a year, ain't it?
Production, it's bad.
The door's blown off him by Jalen Brunson. Yeah, that's a pretty bad deal.
22.5 million right now. He's making this year. So yeah, I mean, it's not an extension last year.
If Utah were to try and keep Mitchell and build around, which I think is wrong at this point, they have to shake it up.
Right.
There's 2 contracts. Gobert's, you can't going to be even harder to trade for Conley. And you're more comfortable leaving the ball in Mitchell's hand and trading out Conley and at least bringing in maybe a possible second scorer off the bench that can create on his own.
Unfortunately, Mitchell is the most valuable piece they have to teams that will be attracted to. But do you want to get rid of your best player? You know what I'm saying?
I want to get rid of both of them.
They could trade Jordan Clarkson because his value is super high right now.
6 man, yeah.
do that because he's on a really team-friendly deal for the next 3 years. So guys like him are movable. The rest of the team besides the core is very movable. So you can make a lot of moves to figure this thing out. But at the end of the day, even Rudy Gay, all those contracts are super easy to move.
But those are so small that you're not gonna get back a player that will make a significant enough impact.
You do.
So maybe if you do Connolly and Clarkson together, you can bring in another alpha. But otherwise, you have to move Mitchell.
Right. I agree.
You just want to do. Do you want to be the general manager who trades D Wade in his prime?
It's very possible. He's
the closest player compared.
No, I want to be the general manager that trades Chris Bosh. And that's what Donovan Mitchell is. He's Chris Bosh. He's not Dwayne Wade.
I feel like watching this.
Dwayne Wade was a winner.
I was totally wrong here, but I feel like he's peaked now. I think he's peaked. Do you see him getting any better? I don't see him any better than this now. He's still great, but I don't know if he gets better than this. Is another level he goes to? I don't. This series is saying a lot to me about that, and I have a lot of doubts. Here's another one that we missed on there. Now,
let's not forget to give Dorian Finney-Smith a lot of credit for putting the clamps on him, making him really play for those points.
By the way, Jalen Brunson's getting paid. He's getting paid.
Dorian Finney-Smith has been.
Oh hell yeah, Brunson's getting paid.
I think Dallas Dallas pays him. You think Dallas pays him?
I don't know their cap situation. I'm willing to bet they do a sign and trade with Brunson.
I'm sure Mark Cuban's gonna try to keep him around though. So he's been great. So right now, Boston's the only team that's advanced in the playoffs. Miami, like I said, they should end it tonight against Atlanta. We touched on Philly a little while ago, 3-2 now. Milwaukee's up 3-1-2. How about Milwaukee real quick? Milwaukee loses Chris Middleton in game 2. Okay. Also another doubt because Chicago played well in game 1. Then they win game 2, right? All of a sudden now, Milwaukee is in trouble. And they beat the fuck out of Chicago in game 3 and 4 in Chicago without Chris Middleton.
It's crazy because Chicago could have won game 1.
You're damn right he could have won game 1.
And just imagine the narrative if you're down 0-2 going to Chicago at that point, and instead they just go and Giannis just takes another level and just says, "Here we go."
This all I keep hearing this. I keep hearing the whisper still, even after yesterday's game against Brooklyn in Boston. Oh, Durant is probably the best player in the league. No, he's not. He's not. It's Giannis. It's been down 2 years now. Stop.
And now it's a gap. A legit gap between who the best player is.
Exactly.
And it's because of Chris's favorite thing, defense.
Yeah.
The defense is what gives him the gap. Offensively wise, he's even with the next couple, but that defense just makes it that gap.
Absolutely.
It's the heart too. Did you see the way his knee bent backwards against Philly last year?
Oh my God.
He came back.
I had to go to the doctor.
That heart is what separates him. He wants to be the best, and he will stop at nothing.
Every player in the NBA, period. In discussion, I said again like last year. If it's not the Heat this year, it's the Bucks for me because of him.
Unstoppable.
To face Golden State.
Huh?
To face Golden State.
I don't think Draymond.
I'm saying who I want to win it this year.
Oh, I know.
I want the Bucks to win it again.
I would. Hey, I want Golden State, and then I'll take the Bucks.
Okay, fair enough. So right now, as we sit here, who is the best team in the East?
The Heat.
You think that? Oh, really? I'm not there yet.
Loss of Chris Middleton, and the Heat match up, in my opinion, very well with the Celtics.
Agreed.
Okay, so you take the one team you're really, really worried about because they have the best guy on the planet, and you take out Robin. Then you get to face the Celtics, who have been probably the best team since January 1st. And they were red hot in the playoffs and have a ton of confidence. I would still take the Heat to beat either of those teams in a matchup right now.
Yeah, but the Heat play Philly.
I don't with him being hurt, I don't even think that's going to be fair. I'll be honest.
They're going to rough up Embiid if he can get Philly.
He can figure it out. He'll put it together to be competitive. I think it definitely changes what I thought Philly could have beat Miami. Now I don't think it's possible with the way Embiid is playing with his thumb, and it just can't be fixed. I mean, he'll adjust to it, and I'm sure that'll help. He's a nightmare, man. I don't know if Adebayo or Dwayne Dedmon's sitting there like chomping at the bit to take on Joel Embiid.
No, but I think the guard play can shut down Harden and Maxey and everybody else.
Yeah,
and so you have an injured Embiid who really can only play from inside of 15 feet. And then you have the Heat's defensive wizards guarding their guards out on the perimeter.
You think Max Strus and like a banged up Kyle Lowry is really ready to take on a young Tyrese Maxey? Like,
no, but I think a hungry Victor Oladipo is. I think Tyler Hero
he was plus 23 in game 4.
He can be the main guy.
Yeah, well, those guys all got to compete with James Harden too. Like, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
I'm still on Milwaukee, obviously, but God, Boston's so good defensively too, especially. I'm going Milwaukee still, but I think I'm not even saying it because they beat Brooklyn, swept Brooklyn, but Boston's defense is a equalizer to a lot of shit.
Yeah, especially with Robert Williams coming back. He rushed back.
And now
looks good. You'll take Boston over Milwaukee.
I'm not
in the next round.
No way.
No, I got Milwaukee. I'm taking best player over overall. That's at the bottom line.
I think Kris
you'll have Milwaukee
that game. So,
although it is time now to revisit a conversation we just had last week, and that Zack contributed to this episode today. Did Jayson Tatum seal top 10 status? Because we had this conversation last week on the podcast about top 10. We went through a list, we marked things down, and I was leaning in the yes column. I think Zack said yes. Kris was a little more on the I don't know yet. He was between
Kris
9
doesn't want to give him
12 kind of thing. But now what we've seen this series against Brooklyn, and obviously we got more to go, but where are we now in that argument? Because I'll be honest, I had a conversation again last night on Twitter. I even did a poll on Twitter last night. We can see what the results are in the poll real quick. Because I believe most people agree with me on this. But more people said yes, I believe. Give me one quick second. I'll tell you right now. The poll as follows is 75% says yes, 25% says no.
I mean, that 36-5-5-5 in 5 game was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. You think?
But I mean, I gotta see what he's gonna do against Milwaukee.
Of course.
Kris, we know who the top 5 or 6 are.
So then
who are the last 4 that are still keeping them out? Zack,
we can do this again. We can do this again last week. I wrote it down. We'll write it down again. In no order. LeBron, yes.
Let's go order.
Giannis.
Yes.
Okay.
Giannis says
KD.
Yes.
Curry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jokic.
Yes. Embiid. Yes.
Yes.
That. Who's someone had here? Doncic.
Yes.
Yes, he's number 8.
We're number 7 actually. There's 7 guys here.
Yeah.
I thought you've named 8 guys now.
No,
okay.
7.
We did this last week. I'm gonna still put Lillard there for now. Because this is his first year he actually was out. We agreed on AD not being there because of a lot of injuries. We agreed that Kawhi not being there.
Lillard isn't a top 10 player regardless of injury.
He was.
Okay?
He was 2 years ago.
To you, but not to anyone
not
who's
to you?
saying.
Okay. I got 7 guys here.
And I said
Lillard
there. And you guys said he was elite offensively and he put up 45 the next game.
Who's that?
Jimmy Butler.
Is Jimmy top 10 now?
He's been there. He's proven it on every team he's gone.
Jimmy's in that.
Jimmy's ahead of Lillard. So
okay.
if you're gonna put Lillard in there, Jimmy had to go.
Let's do it. Let's put Butler there. He's Homer.
Butler's there before Lillard. So Butler's 8.
Zack, it's down the order. Just lock in.
I'm 10. Just saying 8 guys now.
Okay, so Butler's in the 10. You said okay. Paul George.
Paul George.
No.
Yeah.
No. Tatum is better than Paul George. Oh, by far.
At this point, I agree with what Zack said there. At this point.
Tatum is better than Paul George.
You saw
You're looking back 5 years to when
Paul
George had one good playoff run against the Heat.
He's still getting better with age. He is a complete basketball player right
now. And Tatum is already better than him at 25.
Okay,
under 25.
I will say Paul George, when he was healthy this year, and last year in the playoffs, he has proven to be, if not top 10, definitely not conference in that borderline between 9 and 12.
Here's my thing. If I put all these guys in the same tier, I'm going to put their past stuff as the tiebreaker.
Okay. And now who has better past stuff? Tatum with 2 Eastern Conference Finals already.
Well, then Jimmy gets a lot of love because of the fact he played well in the finals against the Lakers 2 years ago.
And we put him there. We're both putting him ahead of Lillard, and we're both putting him against. Who's this other guy we were just talking about?
Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George. That's right.
Well, then Devin Booker. Where are you putting him?
I'm putting Booker ahead of both George and Lillard. I would put Booker and Tatum both in top 10.
Okay, so let's do this real quick. So, we agree on LeBron. We agree on Giannis. We agree on KD. We agree on Curry. We agree on Jokic. We agree on Embiid, Luka. We all agree on Butler, all three of us on Butler?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Do we agree on Dame Lillard?
No.
It's close.
I
really
disagree.
Close.
Let's say no, because I'm also in the close thing too. Also, I might say yes, but because we can't get consensus, we'll say no for the time being. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 spots to fill here.
No to George. Kawhi, no, because he's been injured.
Kawhi definitely no at this point.
And Harden has played himself.
Harden's done. And that's so. I look. There's 2 spots here. Tatum's ascending.
What are you putting in? Mitchell? Mitchell's a choke artist.
No.
You're not putting in his teammate Jaylen Brown.
No.
But
Bam, I don't think is good enough yet. Bam might be.
Oh no, he's not. No, not 10. He's top 20. That's about it. No. So, at this point now, you have players that were on there probably their last year that are being taken out. Harden was in there probably last year.
There's so many guys that are injured. Like Jamal Murray would be right there too. But
no, Jamal Murray hasn't accomplished enough.
Right.
He had one great postseason run.
So let's say now, Tatum, top 10, yes or no? All 3.
Yes. Thank you.
He's in there.
But I think this series is going to do a lot for him. Like against.
Don't make me smack you.
He might move higher in this top 10 unless you realize this series.
Or he can move down quite a bit if they don't do well.
Right.
I'd rather have a conversation about how LeBron's not top.
Boston is the higher seed right now. So they'll be hosting Milwaukee without Chris Middleton for at least the beginning of the series.
Right.
If they win, what are you going to say there?
If Boston wins?
No, if Boston doesn't win, what does that mean?
What if he plays well in that series, though?
Well, I'm saying, yeah, obviously, but I think if he plays well in that series, they're probably going to win the series.
Okay, we all agree.
He's still 10th. He would still be 10th, even if he had a bad series and lost.
I know, Zack, you better hate this. I have no problem putting Paul George number 10.
Like him, I'm sorry, but playing against Brooklyn with a bunch of beat up bums, like it's not like KD was guarding him. Like he wasn't playing against much in that series. So show me a real competitive series, and I'll say yes. He's defined himself as.
He's been to 2 Eastern Conference Finals. You said
he has.
They're on the same tier. Show me what they've done in their past. His past is better than anyone on his same tier.
He does have the conference finals in there, and he's the guy. He's been the guy in both of them.
1A, 1B.
Was it with the Browns?
With Jaylen.
If you were gonna really sort through the hairs, he goes ahead of Butler. So if you're looking at next person out, it would be Butler out of top 10.
I don't know that because if anything, the argument would be like Tatum's ascending. Butler is at already at his peak.
Tatum would be 9. Butler might be 10.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Established himself as number 10 or higher than that, but
and I would let you guys switch out your boy Paul George.
To be honest with you, based on my list here that we agreed on here, Tatum will be number 8 on this list actually.
Yeah. So where's LeBron on your list? Is he top 5?
He's still. I mean, so I wasn't taking Giannis ahead of him right now. I'm taking KD ahead of him right now. Curry still more consistent. He is this. I'm going to hit Curry ahead of him right now at this point.
Is Doncic ahead of him?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I got to. What hurts Luka is the injuries. That's it.
Last year with KD beating Milwaukee in that series, I was like, I would firmly put him ahead of LeBron. Then after this year, I don't know if I could say that.
Here's my question. Like with Luka came in out of shape, carried a team whose second best player for the first half of the season was Kristaps because Brunson wasn't getting enough touches.
Yeah.
So you put Porzingis against LeBron, or AD and Russ.
Right.
Look at what Luka did.
Mm-hmm. And only that, Dallas, I believe, was struggling early in the year. Comes back, and then they go to the 4 seed.
And now let me throw out this: Embiid over LeBron. This is what I'm saying. LeBron's not top 5 anymore. Well,
I think how this series ends is going to carry a lot of the weight on Embiid. I do agree LeBron is definitely on the bottom end of the 5. Let's put it that way. Now, whether or not he's in the 5 or not, we can have a discussion. He's not in the top 3.
I think he's 6th.
And that's fine.
In year 20, I think he takes that.
Yeah.
Anybody in year 20 still being in top 10.
I think I understand, Zach. We should be having a discussion about LeBron being in the top 5, let alone the top 10, right now at his age. And yet we'll stop the discussion.
I don't think that. Here's the thing that's so unfair about that. We keep talking about what year of his NBA career, and not how old he is. And I said this with Michael earlier. Michael was a year younger than LeBron is now.
But the difference between Jordan and LeBron, I look, I'm not. You know where I am on a Jordan argument. Jordan is the greatest of all time. The one thing I always hold against Jordan to some degree that LeBron did not do himself, he retired. He took a break. I'm tired. Let me rest for a year and a half.
How many years did Jordan spend in college?
3.
3.
Yeah, exactly. How many did LeBron?
0. Obviously.
Okay, so he spent 3 years playing against men, while LeBron was playing against boys in high school, and then went off. All right, so he has a 3-year advantage on playing, as far as time-wise. So let's just look at age.
Okay.
For wear and tear. He's only a year older than Michael when Michael won NBA Finals.
That's a good point. The college years.
Duncan, NBA Finals win. Older than LeBron now.
Yeah, you're saying LeBron played 3 more years at an 82-game clip as opposed to Michael Jordan playing 30 games a year for 3 years.
But he didn't. First off, you consider how many games he played during the lockouts not the lockout season, but the COVID. That amounts to a college season. All right. He got that right at the right time, too.
I don't think we look at Jordan as, well, I guess it's the same thing because the Wizards weren't that good this last year's. The Lakers were pretty bad this year, obviously. So yeah. I guess that is an argument to be made on that one. That's a good point about the college part here, actually, Zach. What else here to talk about before we get out of here? Some news from the week.
How about Carmelo?
Oh, we'll get to that. One?
Okay.
Okay. Want to do that now?
I had to look it up. I had to check.
Okay. So the Carmelo thing. So this was an argument I had with a couple of people at work this week. One of my coworkers is a massive Carmelo Anthony fan, and him and I, going back to 10, 12 years ago, used to argue that Carmelo Anthony was better than LeBron James. Now, we're talking about 2011, LeBron's peak in Miami, of course. He said Carmelo than LeBron James. And then we had an argument about Carmelo as to whether he was ever considered a top 5 player in the league at any point in his career. So I went through the list of years. I'm thinking about it, and there was maybe 2 years I may have made a conversation about that. So let me ask you guys: Did you ever consider Carmelo Anthony at any point in his career between 2003 and now a top 5 player in the league? At what point did you identify that time?
I mean, there was a point in time where you could say he was the best scorer in the league.
Oh, without question. That's a question.
Best scorer isn't top five player.
Exactly.
So, do you consider top scorer in the league? I mean, his career is kind of similar to like T-Mac, stuff like that. Guys who just were elite at one thing, and that was points on the board. And I think at one point you could probably argue that he was a top 5 player. I would assume so.
So here's the thing, no,
because he was always getting like 7-8 rebounds a game too. Score.
No, it was more like 5 and 6. Because I had to look back at his stats and see how each guy was each year. And that was the thing. He was a great scorer. He was top 5 in scoring for about a 7-year span of his career.
Correct.
But that was about it. Rebounding, passing, nowhere. Player efficiency, nothing. And then you started thinking about year by year who was there. And you had Kobe, you had LeBron, you had D Wade for when he was first coming out to start with. Then you also had Duncan as a big man. You had Dwight at that same time who was competing for best big man, if not best player. And then slowly you had KD come into the league and Lillard come into the league that could score and Steph. So if there was one year you could argue, it was the year they went to the Western Conference Finals.
Which is, I'm glad you said that. So that was 2009 against the Lakers. All right. So, and that was my argument. I plucked out 2 years that I believe that you could probably consider it. Not saying he was. You could consider it. 2009, of course.
And 2011, I think.
Well, 12.
Or 12, yeah.
With the Knicks. He was third MVP.
Yeah, the second year there with the Knicks.
So I went on a list of players, and not even going through stats, this is my memory bank, of who was the best players in the league at that time. I went on a list. I had obviously LeBron, Kobe,
yes.
Kobe, LeBron, Kobe, Wade,
yes. Tim Duncan was still there.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Yes.
That's 4. You said Duncan. Duncan's is questionable, but I'll give you that one.
Well, he had the rebounds. He was a better passer. Correct. Even.
Here's this one, and I got laughed at for this shit. Dwight Howard.
Oh, yes. And
Dwight Howard was arguably the best player in the league at certain points.
He went to the finals that year.
How about Gilbert Arenas? Gilbert Arenas was scoring almost 30 that year. So
my thing is this, though. So I mean, you do this a lot on the show. Locking the guys that are no matter what, or wherever you put them in, who are definitively in the top 5 that year. So definitively was Wade, definitively was Kobe, definitively was LeBron. I think Dirk is definitively there. So in that 5th spot, you're taking Dwight, taking Carmelo in 2009.
Oh, I would have said Dwight.
Me too. See, the argument they were saying is that, well, Dwight was in the East that year, so it was an easier trek. And that's a little bit of an argument, but not really. So I say no. He's closer to 5. I think the better argument is 2012. To be honest with you. And even then, you have 2012, you have who? 2012, you have LeBron, obviously, best player in the league. KD at that point was really coming to his own.
KD was the exact same thing at that point. He was an ultimate scorer.
KD went to the finals that year, too, on top of that. OKC.
Kobe was still a great scorer at that point.
Was Kobe... See, Kobe's interesting because Kobe, that was Kobe's last great year. That was the year before the Achilles injury.
Yeah. I would have put Kobe there. Like I said, he was still a great scorer at that point.
Kobe, Dwight was still great. 12.
And I think you could have put D Wade still there, even in 2012.
Well, that was Dwayne's first year where the injuries started becoming an issue.
Yeah.
So that I would probably take him off that list of the 5. Who was the runner-up that year in the MVP voting behind LeBron? It was LeBron and Dwight. I know Carmelo was 3.
That still would have been a great year for Dirk Nowitzki too.
Dirk was still good, but that was after the finals. I would say 12 actually. I'll give him 12.
Here, I'll tell you right now.
I mean, if you're in
We're doing the 2011, 2012, right? How about
Yeah.
Kevin Love?
Never.
26,
Never.
15.
He was good, but I've never put hit a Carmelo.
He put up trash stats on a fucking trash team.
I think the argument for Carmelo in this one for 12
But
anyway.
Carmelo wasn't doing much at that point. You know,
No, at 12? No.
he
Carmelo
was a scorer. He didn't even put up 26 that season.
But Carmelo was also third in MVP voting that year. That's the argument for him.
Do we still forget that Carmelo was actually a winner throughout his career?
He
won a championship in college and was still consistently a winner throughout.
I've always said Carmelo Anthony was a modern day Dominique Wilkins.
He was a great team player. He was a great player. People wanted to play with him. He was a good player.
I think he just happened into a lucky situation because his winning basically ended once he left Denver. He had, 2 playoff runs in New York, and that was it.
He kind of went diva to get out, and that kind of ruined his whole legacy, to be honest.
He also had the image of one
that's on him because he carried that. He chose to be that.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That made him look bad because he said, "I'm only going to the Knicks, period," and that was.
And only that, he cared about money more than the other. I mean, not a big deal.
Yeah, and he wanted to be traded there, so he crippled the franchise for the first couple of years he got there.
Yeah.
All right. His winning ended when he left Denver, and Denver had a winning situation.
No, give him New York. Give him the 1 year New York 12 because.
All right, 1 year. 1 year.
12.
Let's stop calling the man a winner.
Well, it's his fault. His Robin was Amari, and it was hurt all the time at that point in his career.
I wouldn't call him a winner either. I'm gonna
There's another guy you could have argued was a better player than him during that time, Amari. Amari was 25 and 12.
So Amari's last great year was 11. His first year in New York. Carmelo gets there. Amari gets hurt again. So that gets hurt there, of course. I'm gonna say yes. Yes, there was 1 year, but it's not 09. It's 12. It was a better argument because of the MVP and the Knicks with the playoffs, 153 games that year and all that. So I'll give him that one. All right, let's go before we get going. Some news and notes here. The Charlotte Hornets relieve James Borrego of his duties. He was 138 in 4 years in Charlotte. They made the play-in this year. Winning record.
Who cares?
They improved in the past 3 years by 10 games every year, 10 wins every year. How do you get rid of that guy?
They're saying due to, quote, player discipline off the court. I don't know what that means. That's just what some of the tea leaves about what some of these writers are reading, writing rather.
That guy is a stud pedigree and will probably find their job and be very successful somewhere else.
Right. And
and I say he'll be an assistant next year and for a bunch of years to come.
Right.
He might for a couple, but I think his name will pop up a lot faster than you think.
All right, who goes number 1 in the NFL draft?
Who cares? I don't know.
Oh, Ernest.
I don't know who. I get it. This is the year I don't really.
Your team had 2 top 10 picks, number 5 and number 7.
I know, and that's what I care about. But I don't know. We have to do. The thing is, when you're bad, see, Kris, you're good now. You were in the Super Bowl last year. When you're a bad team like us for the last 10 years, and there are so many holes, it's hard to pick from the litter. Which one do you want? Because it's so much.
Your time
what would you want to get? What holes would you want filled first, then, Ernest?
Where do I start?
O-line, you have to.
I mean, O-line, obviously. It's always. But I feel like that's like every fucking year for the last 10 years. O-line, and then these guys get fucking moved 2 years, 3 years later.
True.
You should be happy that Saquon came out and said he wants to prove that he's the guy that you guys drafted.
Yeah,
he's hungry.
I'm okay with one more Jones year. I'm okay with one more Jones year, and then that's it. Call it a day. Real quick, Scotty Barnes, rookie of the year. I believe Zack had that prediction.
FSU. Yes,
right.
I predicted it. He was the best player all year in the rookie class.
Mm-hmm. Kris, do you agree with this decision?
I mean, it was a toss-up. It was going to go between him or Mobley. I thought Mobley did a little more for Cleveland, but at the end of the day, no one's going to be like, oh, my God, I can't believe Scotty Barnes won instead of him.
Right. Last thing here, your boy, Kris, John Morant. when's the most improved player. I think you have. I think you predicted that too, also, didn't you? Not on the list, but I think you may mention him maybe being that.
He was the Vegas.
Was that me? Favorite. That was me, wasn't it?
He was the Vegas
favorite.
Oh,
yeah. The guy who neither one of us thought deserved to be because he was already a 20-point game guy.
No, so he went from 19.1 last year to 27 this year. But here's the thing. Do you know what he also is? The first of ever, and probably going to be only ever. He's the first rookie of the year to win that award. You know why? Because once you win that award, you've established yourself as a really good player, and you can't get that much higher from there. Like, I understand, like, he took a big leap, but that leap was, you could see it. That was like,
Ja, right?
Yes, with Ja, you saw that. It was already, all the stepping stones were there. It was a natural progression that every superstar takes. They don't get that award because he was already the rookie of the year. Like, and this is 2 years after that. Like,
no, you certainly should never get most improved player when you're rookie of the year.
That's why it's never happened before ever in the history of the NBA. Has a guy won both those awards, because that guy is going to ascend. That's a natural progression. You get the guys who like Darius Garland, who's a fucking bust his first 3 years in the league, and everyone said he was going to suck, and he turned it around and just took a monstrous leap somehow.
Kind of feels like a well, you're not getting MVP, but so here's this one at least.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's what it was. Lazy exercise.
Statistically, yes, he took a big leap, but that's because from his rookie year to his sophomore year, it was kind of just like stagnated, and then he took instead of having like the 18 to 24 to 28, and went 18 to 19 to 28. So like they're like, oh, what a big leap! But anyone with two eyes and saw him in the playoffs last year.
Here's my question though: do I get to celebrate my prediction being correct though?
Shut up. He was a minus 2,000 favorite in Vegas. Everyone knew he was going to win. I said he was going to win, but I didn't want him to win. I don't think he deserved to win.
Look really tan today, Kris.
And I don't like the fact that Dejounte Murray got second, because he's always been good too. He's just been slept on because he's been hurt every year of his career. So finally he's healthy and he gets like second most. No, he's always been good. The people are just, these writers don't watch basketball. Dejounte Murray's been like stud for years.
Yeah,
he's been hurt over and over, torn ACL. Like, he's finally healthy, and you're like, oh wow, what a great revelation. No, he's been that good.
By the way, I had Evan Mobley rookie of the year, so that's what it is. Anyway,
I thought that would have been a great time to bust out the rookie of the years again.
Yeah, I agree. I'm okay with having a co-MVP this year too. If it was Embiid and Jokic will share it, I'm okay with that. Why not?
Yeah.
Although I will say, someone made a point on Twitter earlier today. It was a good point about, like, having the same energy towards Embiid. People talk about Jokic, this and that, and then he falls in the playoffs against Golden State. Now you have Embiid struggling now in the playoffs. We have that same energy for Embiid now.
I think the fact of the matter is, a lot of people get voter fatigue when people go back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Steph Curry got that same notion when he had a statistically better year, and he did win.
Mm-hmm.
But people didn't want to vote for him that second year. Giannis, the same thing. They didn't really want to give it to him the second. For whatever reason, they didn't want to give these dudes back-to-back trophies. I don't know why. But if you improve, or if you say the same and your team gets significantly shittier, and you've taken your team to a place that they shouldn't have been at, you deserve it.
I'm trying to find a tweet he had. Alf had. This is the tweet he was talking about. Where is that? Come on, right here. Shit, I fucking can't find it. Whatever. Anyway, that's it. That's it for the show today.
It's so funny to me because for all-star selections, there's no voter fatigue because they'll just vote the same dude 12 straight years in a row and not give a shit. But for that specific trophy, they just want someone new to pop up every year to give the league more, I don't know, player parity. I have no clue what it is, but like, it's just they don't want to give that award to the same guy.
Yeah. Never get that. Anyway, I say plug away, Kris. We don't have anything to plug. You're just the guy that comes to the podcast and leaves and comes back a week later and leaves. And you can follow Zack on FSU Know It All on Twitter. Occasionally he'll bug me on fucking Twitter. Good show, though.
Busy, man. I'm busy.
I know you are. So am I.